Check, check, quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
Hey, can hear you loud and clear, Coach Jay. Welcome back at the Buzzers. How are you doing this fine Monday afternoon?
Happy Monday, everybody. Doing all right. Doing all right. We were just talking in the green room. A little bit of an injury from playing basketball. I got to remember my age every once in a while. But doing all right. A little bit of an injury in the markets as well. Took a loss today. Trying to buy the metals last night. But we're still good. Still a ton of week left here. How's your day, Coach?
Yeah, a good day. Sold the Nasdaq early last night. Made 2-1. Bought the Swiss franc. I had some good trades and some got chopped a little early this morning in the equities, but I saw the light and rallied by buying it. It was not an easy thing to do, but it was the thing to do. So I can't complain. I had a good day.
Good stuff. Welcome to At the Buzzer, everyone. Our market recap. If this is your first time here, the goal of this segment is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. We want to see how we can take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. I'm Coach Jay. Been here since 2023 at Topstep as a performance coach, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some of my experience and some knowledge and hopefully assist you in becoming a better trader.
You are all our audience. Let us know how you did today. Are you up on the day, down on the day? I see Matt Grubbs has got humbled today after 11-day profit streak. Matt, as long as that loss was managed and you didn't give back 11 days of profit, then you did your job, right? That's the one thing that gets a little scary about win streaks. Are we trading to trade our process, or do we start trading to hold on to the win streak? Start trading to hold on to the win streak. It makes it a lot harder to accept a loss. I know that from experience, because you start to think that you're better than the markets, and we almost forget how losing feels, right? So anytime you're on that win streak, understand that it is a result of your process and market conditions agreeing with your process, and nothing more than that, right? None of us, unfortunately, know better than the market from what I understand. Maybe there is somebody out here that knows better than the market, but you probably never lose. But manage that downside. That is the key. Make sure you have an account to trade tomorrow. Trying to hold on to the green is what got me. I believe tomorrow is a new day. And there you go, Matt, right? That happens.
Yep. And I will tell you this too. From my experience, Coach touched upon that. When you're on a streak like that, you get kind of entitled.
Oh yeah.
And what I mean by entitled is you start getting a little lax. I haven't won yet, and then this creeps into your mind. I need to make this back. I don't want to give any of it back. Guilty. I've done that at the highest level in my career, and it's very common. That's why I reverted to 10% of the equity balance.
Yep.
And 10 to 12%. There is no exactness, but just and then learn from it.
Mm-hmm.
So
there we go. Joe says 1,500. Nice day. Charles Williams up about $23. Good for a Monday. I wish I was up $23 today. Nice day. It was a nice day. $23.
Scratch is a win.
I'll take it. I will take it. Billy says DLL, great plan, terrible execution. Well, you know what you can fix. Billy, it's not the plan. Don't change the plan. If the plan worked, we just have to figure out how to work inside of that plan. Let's take a look at the Trader Hub. Not much as far as news goes that is going to move the equities. We did have the WASD report out today. And if we look at the quote board, most of the biggest percentage movers to the downside today are the ags. We did have, questions about Fed independence over the weekend, Coach Paul, where the DOJ is maybe looking into charging the Fed, I guess, with some misappropriation of funds, it sounds like.
The Fed chairman, I believe.
Yeah, Fed chairman.
Directly.
Yeah. So interesting stuff going on there. Jack was saying during fast markets this morning, with that type of news, he would expect the markets to be down pretty heavy, but we made all-time highs today. So it's another example of uncertainty being added to the markets, and the markets are going to decide how they respond to it. Last night, it looked like we were going to sell off, and then we had Nasdaq, actually not the Nasdaq, but the S&P making new all-time highs today. Anything you got on the news, Coach Paul?
Yeah, it was rather shocking. Like, I've been around the bond business for 4 decades, most of my trading career, and to see a Federal Reserve chairman on a Sunday night make that statement,
Yeah.
it's surreal. I'm like, I remember, you want your banker to be staid,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Not in a panic, not a panic mode or in a fighting mode. And to see that, and I was more shocked. I didn't see it come out. I happened to be short, just trading the breakout.
Right.
But when I saw that, it took me a while. But we'll go into it. That kind of news set off gold and silver.
Yeah, it did.
And it's a problem for, not for traders
No.
particularly. We trade, but for investors.
Yeah.
So
Unless you're investing in the precious metals right now, gold and silver making new all-time highs today. Let's take a look at the quote board. 36 different markets we can trade with Topstep accounts. And today, to the downside, we had soybeans down 1.13%, soybean meal down 1.75%, and corn, our biggest percentage mover to the downside, down 5.38% on the day. I want to give a shout out to Coach Jack. Him and I did a class last week. He was talking about looking for a corn sell-off. I hope Coach Jack caught a piece of this move. I don't know if he would have traded it during WASD, but 5.38% to the downside in the corn market. You can see that trade there. To the upside today, we had gold up 2.26%, making new all-time highs. Natural gas up 6.53%, and silver, our biggest percentage mover to the upside, up 6.84%. Again, making new all-time highs there as well. To talk about our big four, we had crude oil up 0.79%, the S&P up 0.15%, making new all-time highs. We talked about gold up 2.27%, and the Nasdaq up 0.07% on the day to round out our big four. I'm going to pull up an S&P chart since we made new all-time highs there. Coach Paul, let's take a look at the daily in the S&P. What are we seeing here?
positive action once again, shedding bad news, and touched. Did it make the all-time high in the futures? Right.
It did. It did. Yeah, new all-time high is 70.25 and a quarter.
So onward and upward. The only thing that to me would change this would be a big outside day. And we're not there yet. So the trend is up, the trend is solid, and we move on.
Yep. We got a VWAP for the year so far. Was support. I mean, how many days have we had in the trading year? But we've been talking about 2026 starting off pretty bullish in the equities. We've seen the Dow make new all-time highs already. Came down and kind of held that as a support so far. 69.59 is that price, and kind of slowly pushing higher here. We are still getting light volume days, either right at the average or below the average like today. But still pushing to the upside in the S&P at least. The Nasdaq, not necessarily the same. I'll take a look at the Nasdaq, and it still has a little bit of work to do to even close and settle above 26,000, where we see the Nasdaq still about just under 3% off the all-time high.
It's interesting. We bounced off that 50-day moving average, and that was last night.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at this morning's action, institutions came in and bought Nasdaq on sale.
Yeah, they did.
And like you said, it needs more work, but there's nothing bearish, and this is a balanced, choppy market since December. Like you said, the 20 and the 50 are braiding, but we're holding the trend. Something some high volume break would need to happen for me to change bullishness. So onward to buying the dip.
Buying the dips for sure. Let's take a look at the 30-minute in the S&P. Last night, we had some urgency to the downside. Let's take a look here. Is last night's 30-minute open. Of course, that news came out about Powell. I'm going to be honest, Coach Paul, when I saw that Powell video on Twitter, I had to make sure for a second. I thought it was AI. I thought it was fake. I thought it was fake.
It was shocking.
Yeah, we did have some nice selling last night. On that news, we made some lows, 69.50. We looked below Friday's low. And right around the London session, we started to find some buyers that stepped in around that 69.50 area. If you remember last week, 69.60, we saw a 2,000 lot trade on the offer there. Kind of not surprising to see the market come back here. I thought it was going to happen on Friday, to be honest, but sometimes it takes a little bit of time. But seeing the market kind of come back to where all that volume traded on Friday, I think if we put a volume point of control up from Friday, might see some interesting stuff there. That was point of control at one point during the day, one of our highest volume nodes of the day. Where all that volume traded, we came back, looked at it, and then it was pretty much a one-directional move once we got into the New York session. Let's take a look at a shorter time frame chart here. We did look below, go back to the 30 for a second. We looked below that 200 moving average price-wise. Volume barely crossed below it, kind of stopped there. We know how strong that 200 moving average is. So although price is advertising lower, if I'm short here and I don't see VWAP trading lower as well, maybe you either start to think position management or maybe not establishing shorts down here. Go ahead, Coach Paul.
Well, one of the things, two things, if we last night's volume at the low, relative volume, we had a J trade on a half hour. Now, remember, that's relative, but it was greater than average volume. It was the highest volume of the night, besides the opening. And it was also the first level of, just below the first level of support on the pivot. But looking at that, right, we made that low on heavy volume. And we stayed in it, and volume died off. And when we left it with VWAP, at that point, if I'm short, I'm covering it. I really didn't like the buy there to get long. You could, but from my look, that's tough buy. But right back to VWAP, and 200 moving average.
Yep. Which was pretty much the low of the New York session. What that price was around 69.70 today. 69.70, and we'll take a look at. I'm going to change this over to regular trading hours just so we can look at the open. We came down. This was a pretty aggressive candle. Shout out to OFEC, who was trading with us this morning, trading in the Nasdaq. You look at the S&P. This is a 16-point candle in the Nasdaq. That first 3-minute candle was about 100 points. Maybe a little tough to get into this, right? Because we have this 100-point spike pretty much right on the open. You can see where we opened up for the regular trading hours. We looked a couple ticks below that, and the market just started to run. Closed the regular trading hour gap, and then it kind of turned into a zombie grind up to make all-time highs in the S&P and in the Nasdaq.
You hit it on the head. The 100-point, that 100-point 3 minutes came off the 200 moving average on the 30-minute. We had overnight.
I think they got him.
Huh?
You froze for a second there, but you're good.
And then we had urgency on the 3-minute. It's just new information. When we closed above it, I finally bought it. and I sold the Rusty a little spread and bought the S&P, and got a 2-to-1 trade, but it wasn't easy. And it was nervous. It was nervous trading. It was quick, but the setup was there. Now the risk was larger, so I sized down. I could, in retrospect, go, "Wow, I really should have bought more," but I wasn't willing to take that big of risk.
Right.
And then so we put that anchored VWAP. That's more important that it got bought and it had continuation buying in the gap. So very impressive comeback. Like I
Yeah.
said, buying the dip.
Buying the dip, making new all-time highs. I think that's a new all-time high close as well in the futures. 70.25 and a quarter in the S&P, and the Nasdaq has some work to do. Nasdaq has some work to do. Got to close above that 26,000, and we're still about 3% off the all-time high. Take a quick look at the Dow and the Russell. Looked like they wanted to sell off this morning when the Nasdaq and the S&P rallied, but we had all the equity markets kind of doing the same thing today, which is a good sign. I think for buyers, if they're all running in concert, we might see bigger trending moves. So nice move here as well. And it looked like a big trend, but then you talk about the Nasdaq being up just 0.12% on the day, just over 0.1%. It's because of that aggressive sell-off that we had last night. But really nice move in the Dow and the Russell today as well. Anything else you want to talk about in the equities, Coach Paul?
No, once again, the Dow and the Russell acting in coordination. It seems to be what they want to buy the S&P and the Nasdaq, they sell the other, at least on the opening. One thing, we had a J trade, I believe it was in the Russell after the first 3 minutes. And there it was. Now, I was short. I jumped the gun, but again, doing that to buy the Nasdaq. But that J trade, there was a lot of risk, so I didn't get long. I just got out. But it didn't break that low. It tested it, came back to VWAP.
Yeah, it's a decent amount of risk.
Yeah, to do it, I was, I jumped the gun a little, selling it. But looking back, once again, there's a J trade right off the opening. A little patience. It was a decent trade. So one of the things coming back to it, I mean, that looked like it was going to get crushed. It had all the feeling. We had heavy volume. But what we didn't do is just, at the very least, make a new low. And then one of the things, the structure of VWAP, it turned around in a hurry.
Yep. Yeah, did not follow sellers there. You just stopped trading it, you said?
Yeah, I just stopped trading and it
There you
kept my Nasdaq and S&P.
I mean, I think
spread,
one of the ways you might be able to measure that too is if you leave out the opening candle, right, and then go with this one, the second candle, that's a little bit less risk, but then it's not as much volume as the open. But yeah, nice turnaround in the Russell. I was driving fast markets today. I have all the markets up still, and I'm like, whoa, with the Dow and the Russell look pretty aggressive to the downside here. And then a quick turnaround, all the equities kind of getting in line with each other. All of them looking at Friday's low, taking a look at Friday's low, and turning around from there, closing the gap, regular trading hour gap, and continuing to push higher here. So nice close in the equities. We do got inflation data coming out this week. We have CPI tomorrow. So that has the potential to bring some volatility to the equity markets and the metals markets if you're trading those. So we will see. Coach Hoop, I saw you say in the chat, the low volume on this rally is a little bit concerning. And to to an extent, I agree, right? Where we're not seeing above average volume, but also that just it feels like it just happens to the upside. It's way easier for volume to trade to the downside because everyone's trying to run out and get out the door before the last person, right? Where if equities are just going to go into grind up mode here, then you know, we could see it can continue that way. But that CPI number tomorrow is going to give us some information for sure, and that is an all-time high in the Russell. Huh.
It lasted March or April, May. It was the dog.
Yeah, it was.
I just remember it. It's steady Eddie.
Yes, it is.
Still, how many days in a row was it? Did it finish higher? 1, 2, 3.
3 so far.
No,
We got this red day here, but 6 out of the last 7 trading days have all been green.
Yeah,
That's the same. Nope, the S&P is a little different there. The Dow is very similar. 1, 2, 6 out of 7. 6, 7 for all the kids out there. Yeah, the Nasdaq, a little bit of a mixed bag here as well. All right, let's take a look at the metals. We have gold making all-time highs. We said this, Coach Paul. This is the fastest we've seen one of these aggressive candles get back above 50%. And the last time it was 2 months. Time before that, it was about 5 months. This time, it wasn't as much volume. But this time it was like 5 days where we're getting back above 50% of that candle. We held the October 21st candle. That was our frame of reference from before. And with maybe the Powell news coming out last night, we found some urgency in gold and they bought it all day. New all-time high in gold futures, 46.40 and a half. 46.40 and a half on this contract that we're trading. What are you seeing here on the daily?
No, the obvious all-time highs.
Yep.
Recovery in closing at all-time highs, and gaining momentum. A very bullish chart. Don't take this as go buy it and size up. It's just that structure is very, very friendly. And just to answer the question, did I size up? I never size up or over leverage. And one of the things, gold too, it's getting into a point. Can you afford the risk? The average true range now is what, 100?
Daily ATR in gold is $89.
All right. Getting real close. So it's $10,000 on a. So just volatility is just as we go higher, it's the opposite of equities. Volatility is going to get higher and higher, and the swings will be merciless. And even today, I mean, if we break into the first half an hour, we had urgency, but look at that gap.
No, yeah, a little bit of a gap. I had regular trading hours charts up for a little bit, but we did have a gap from where we closed. So get the right thing here. A little bit of a gap there. Filled about 50% of it. And it was off to the races.
It was off to the races. So what I'm bringing up is that the first half an hour, looking at that risk, I think what was it, $40?
Yeah. So if you're saying if you close above this high and risk this low, yeah, about 30 bucks.
$30 on a micro, it's 300. Just it's getting very large quickly. Great opportunities if you're willing to risk that. But think of that, if that was a big, 100-ounce contract, that's $3,000 movement. You can do that, but what do you have to do? you have to be right.
Right. Or $3,000 doesn't mean a whole lot.
Yeah.
It's just a fraction of your account, a small fraction.
Right. So just beware of that as we go higher. Commodities can get really, really, the higher we go, the more volatile.
Yeah.
But it was a nice movement. You know what's interesting is it rallied after on the Globex Open.
Yes.
The continuation.
Yes, it
which
did.
we have, I don't, it kind of went against the norm.
Yeah.
It wasn't profit taking, and I'll hand it to you.
No, we've been talking about that, right? Do we look for the Shanghai Open or do you look at the Globex Open? And I think it really depends. More often than not, I'm going to default to the Globex Open. That's when we know most of the volume is going to come in. But in instances where you have Powell saying, I'm being, I mean, maybe going to jail here based on the DOJ, that's a little bit different, right? When you have a catalyst that gets the markets moving early, and I think a good way to look at it is, if I want to look at it in the Globex Open and we get that urgency in the next half an hour, then cool, I might have the trade there. But I'm going to default to that Asia session open. And today was a holiday in Japan. Okay. Interesting. Shout out to all of our Japanese friends. I wonder what holiday it was. But here's
Happy holiday.
Say it again.
Happy holiday.
Happy holiday. Here is that Shanghai Open. And this is where I took my losses. I was looking to buy this unnecessarily early. And we got a really nice pullback to VWAP, which I could have bought off of, which would have been a really nice trade. But I was buying it up here. So this pullback got me out on the day. But we didn't see that same type of momentum, right, on the Shanghai session open, which is why you can look at that time frame for a trade. But if it's not clear or if it's not presenting, you can't try to force the market to do it. Actually, on the Shanghai open, it was a better short into VWAP, at least. It's tough to short the equity. It's tough to short the metals, but that was a really nice pullback into the full session VWAP after we got this urgency early. So the flow was to the upside. Shanghai gave us a little bit of an opportunity to buy a pullback. And then from that point, it was just a grind higher. Ooh, telephone. Take a look at silver. We made new all-time highs in silver as well, 86.34. M says if you weren't awake, that doesn't matter. I was awake. I was just not trading well. Probably should not have been trading well. Here we go with silver. Same thing. Gap up. New all-time highs here in silver as well. Shanghai gave us an opportunity to pull back and buy off of VWAP. Just a really strong trend. We talk about this a lot, but a lot of times when we get this urgency early and we see decent volume, that ends up being the trend for the day. Today it was the case. It's not always the case. We've seen, just last week, silver had some urgency to the downside, which it's hard to believe any moves to the downside in the metals are sustainable.
One thing too to note, it's Sunday's opening.
Yeah.
So on gaps and Globex is a little more important on Sunday opening because it's going to reflect what happened over the weekend. And metals do trade over the weekend every day. They don't ever stop trading in the cash market, not the futures.
Yep.
So coming on a Sunday, I believe Globex Open is more important.
100%. Hi guys. Do you all know if Topstep denies if you trade with bad behavior in the past? No. No, you don't have to worry about that. If you trade with bad behavior in the past, hopefully you fixed. But denying payouts for bad behaviors depends on what those bad behaviors are, right? If they're just bad trading behaviors, right? If you've over leveraged and things like that, the good thing about trading with Topstep, you have an opportunity to make it right. If you're talking about other bad behaviors, I can't not speak to those activities. Don't do those, right? But if it's bad trading habits, if you can fix those, then you're eligible for payouts.
It'll take care of itself.
Yep.
It won't survive.
Right.
I mean, it's the way it is.
Right. Yeah, your bad behaviors are probably going to take your account if you haven't gotten over them. But if you've gotten over them, don't worry about it. Don't worry about what you did in the past. Keep trading well and take your payouts. Take your payouts. All right. And anything else you got on silver?
Yeah, no. Onward and upward.
Yeah.
I mean, we're only $13 away, $16 away.
Yeah.
From
When are
100?
So I was on Fast Markets today, and Hogue was talking about $300 silver. That's some of the projections he heard. $300. Could you imagine? At that point, I think I would just have to watch in amazement and not to trade, because if silver's at $300. Yeah.
Well, you know what happens when that happens? People find that this happened. So 1980 at $50, I had an aunt, and she wasn't the only one. She had silver service. She collected silver. She had curios of it. It all disappeared. She took the money. And what happened, that's just one out of it. There'll be people will find silver. Silver used to be in x-rays. Doctors who kept their x-rays melted it down for silver. It will draw supply from many different places. And it will turn into a stream, will turn into a river in a hurry. And it goes to the point is the best cure for high prices is higher prices. That's how the auction process works. 300, maybe. I might like it. Anything can happen. But remember, in commodities, people will have silver at 100. I'll probably start unloading whatever silver they can find. It's the way it works. That would be interesting.
Yeah. See if it continues to go. First stop, $100. Like Coach Paul said, we're $16 away. Silver was up 6%. At one point, it was up 8.5% on the day. So we could get there. Heard some people talking about early this week or late this week, 18% off right now. It's not out of the question. I'll say that much. Anything else you want to talk about in the metals? Coach
Yeah,
Paul?
I didn't look at copper. I'd be interested to see what happened there.
Copper. Trading right at $6, huh? What is that white line in copper? Price and volume trading above it today. VWAP trading above that 200 moving average. Another one. Found some urgency.
And
Look at that.
then found some sellers.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's a broken market to me. I'm just curious to see what happened. I won't be trading that.
Yeah. Thumper in the chat says, newbie question, should VWAP be at the same location across all time frames? So if you're looking at VWAP on the Topstep X charts, the one thing you have to take into consideration is that VWAP is looking at the visible range of the charts. So if you're on a shorter time frame and it's not showing the same VWAP as your higher time frame chart, what you can do is like right here. I got VWAP in copper here at $5.99. Just zoom out so you can get more of the range, and then if you zoom back in, it'll stay in the right spot. It's taken in consideration the visible range of the chart, right? So you see it here. Here it's at $5.99. Here it's at $6.01. If I zoom out on this chart, it should go to the right place. How is anchored VWAP different, and what is it anchored to? That depends. So anchored VWAP is you're anchoring the starting point of the calculation, right? One of the things that we do here is anchor VWAP to high volume or to a session open, right? So your anchor points, that's up to your discretion as a trader. One of the things you can do, if you read the book, I'll get my books up here in a couple days, but Brian Shannon's book on anchored VWAP, one of the things he talks about is anchoring to pivots, right? To the high of the day, to the low of the day. You anchor here, right? This was the low of the day in copper. Then you're reading how the market This is an event, right? This is the candle that made the low of the day. You're reading how the market trades from that low of day. You do that. You can anchor it to high volume and see how the market responds to there. You can anchor it to a news event. Tomorrow we have CPI out. Can somebody, while we're going through the rest of this charts, can somebody look up the last CPI date that we had, just so we can frame out that news candle and take a look from there. Let's go to the energies though. Okay, crude. Hey, crude. Look at it on a daily. What are we seeing here, Coach Paul?
It's grinding. Now we're up. We've closed above the 50-day moving average with twice the second day. Maybe an approach to the 200. We're still in that range, but very friendly. But the dips are being bought. It should change a character in the crude. So starting to look friendly. It's got to settle above the 200. Can it? Yeah. Like I said, this could be the market of 2026.
With the way 2026 started, I think a lot of people were thinking it's going to be the market that sells off.
Now, let's go to the first trading day in January and frame that out. Let's attach a VWAP to that. So I'm going to be watching from the 1st of January. Why? There was a lot of action in 2025 that pushed with Saudi Arabia agreements, pushing oil lower. They're not going to do that forever. Those agreements have terms in my book. And now the fact that we're trading higher on the year, VWAP is turning, we're at the 200. We closed down, and this could be the shock. No one's looking for it, but if Saudi Arabia says, we've given enough and we're going to cut production, I don't think I think that would spark a nice rally, but this is definitely short covering and gaining traction.
We're talking about crude oil here. We do have a headline here from the president. Effective immediately, any country doing business with Iran will pay a tariff of 25% on any or all business being done with the U.S. That just came out 5 minutes ago. Effective immediately, any country doing business with Iran will pay a tariff of 25% on any or all business being done with the U.S. So tariff talk is spilling over into 2026 for sure.
Yeah. As we talk about crude.
Yeah.
Boy, I'll hold on to my straddle.
Right.
And look at the volume too. That was volume is picking up as it should after holidays in December. But the low of the year is a J trade.
Yes, it is. Highest volume of the year so far. That was that the weekend? No, I don't think it was. But whatever it was, we had a ton of volume, closed above that high, and continuing to push up here. There we go. Natural gas. Actually, let's take a look at crude on the 30. Not a whole lot. I think it's still a tough market to day trade, to be honest. Unless you're trading it around the London session open, it's a tough market to day trade, in my opinion. You just heard Coach Paul mention a straddle, and again, we share that risk disclosure in the chat. Anything we say here is for educational purposes only, not a suggestion to take a trade. But I think that's the right way to trade this market right now. For a day trade, can you get some nice moves? We've seen a couple nice opening range trades. but it is a pretty tight, pretty tough market to trade right now. Anything else you got in crude oil, Coach Paul?
That's it.
Awesome. Natural gas was another big mover today. What is that white line there? Could be another interesting watch for tomorrow. Just trading off of that 200 moving average.
Well, it had the gap open, which it likes to do on Sundays. Now, I said Asia, it's usually not the best session to determine direction in natural gas. London is. So let's see what happens. So you can see the volume. I mean, it's
Yeah, I've been thinking about it. I think most of the volume we're seeing is 8 a.m. Eastern time, 7 a.m. Central, right? That's really
Yeah.
when this market starts to pick up. Maybe sometimes a little bit before that. I think there are some numbers that come out for natural gas earlier, but yeah, I think maybe you start looking at it if you're going to trade it at 7 a.m. 7 a.m. Eastern time, maybe 8 a.m. Eastern time, where we see that volume start to pick up.
Where
the
did
most
we
part.
go to?
Right to the 200 moving average.
If someone was asking about anchored VWAP, so we got to the 200. Let's see how when it hits the 200, an anchor of VWAP, we don't have follow through. So I think it's interesting.
So you have a little bit of a
7. I'm going to be watching this.
You kind of have a J trade to the downside here. This was the highest volume 30-minute candle of the day. We closed outside of it. If this volume starts to leave, we could be going right back down to where we opened the week. So interesting. Natural gas, interesting. One of our biggest percentage movers. I haven't traded it much recently, but it's making new lows as we speak, or not new lows, but it's continuing to trade right now, continuing to sell. Might be an interesting watch for tomorrow. A lot of people saying it looks like a promising short, touched the 200 moving average and then fell off. That is good enough for a day trade right there, right? If you wanted to sell against this 200 moving average, there are a bunch of different markets that we can trade. Speaking of which, Coach Paul, anything you have? It's the first time I'm asking you this year. Anything you have on your scouting report? Heard you say you traded the Swiss franc. What's going on? What else are we looking at?
Let's look at the Swiss franc.
Look at the Swizzy. 6S is the ticker for the Swiss franc. We're going to go out to a daily. What are we seeing here on the daily?
It's interesting and I just want to when we think of Swiss francs or Switzerland, one of the first things that comes to my mind is gold. Depository for gold. It's been attached to gold for a very long time. This doesn't look anything like gold.
Not at all.
Not at all, right? It's in a range, and it's under 200, but it's not going anywhere. It hasn't been a great trade. But inside of that, for day trades, last night on the opening, okay, on that first half an hour, we had urgency.
Yep.
And it sold off right away. It's under the 200. We had urgency, and it was decent risk.
Yeah, the currency futures, you're not going to be risking a whole lot here. This is maybe $250 worth of risk. Maybe, Coach Paul?
Yeah, it wasn't even that. What we closed under VWAP as it starts trending down, I think my risk was less than about $150 on a one unit. And it gave 2 to 1 pretty quick.
2 to 1's great for day trades. Another market where hey, are you going to make $1 million trading the Swiss franc in a Topstep account? Probably not. But
Wait. That's Friday's action.
oh, is it?
Yeah.
Well,
I was like, no.
there you go. Okay. All right. Sorry about that.
So we make the low on that opening.
That's a different story there.
Yeah. But this one, with that half an hour, look at the next half an hour. There was
Yeah.
a range of ants.
Yeah.
I preempted this a little bit because of the way gold moved.
Mm.
We broke to new highs, and look what VWAP did.
Yeah, just shot up.
It held those lows. The volume came in. That was the $150 worth of risk. New
Here.
lows.
Gotcha.
Under that circumstance, with gold exploding, metals exploding, and
So
the news of the Fed chairman, I bought it. I preempted. I bought it as soon as it broke above that high.
So one more time, Coach Paul, the reason you're looking at the Swiss franc is because you're assuming volatility in the metals is going to have maybe some downstream effects in the currencies.
Dollar weakness.
Dollar weakness, strength in other currencies. Got you.
And it played out, but it's still, it's in a tight range.
Right.
But that was a quick, that's the extent of a scalp.
Gotcha.
I looked at the gold, and I don't want to take that, but when it happened, it was a lot of risk. So I looked at the Swiss. Now, when I saw it break the highs of the open under that, the risk was like 150. It might have been a little less.
Mm.
And a 2-to-1 trade.
Yeah.
Happened quickly, and then it got sloppy. I will tell you this. I don't currencies all across the board. Show me a strong currency.
Right now? Are metals still considered currency?
Yeah, well, they are now. It gives you a clue as to the stress on the central banking system as a whole. Look at the yen.
That looks nasty.
Yeah.
Unless you're short.
Yeah, to turn it around, it's a bull market.
Right.
But yen, still find places to sell it, but it's not as easy as it looks. I've made a little selling the yen, gave back because it almost seems like there's central bank intervention.
You saw a lot of that in 2024.
Yeah. Now, look at the euro currency closing below the 200. Is VWAP settled under it?
For the year, not yet.
Not yet, but we have urgency in selling that. So under the 200, what would be a shock? Dollar strength.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't follow it that closely, but there's not much talk about dollar strength. This euro currency, I'm going to keep an eye on that. Under the 200, we haven't been under it since April, and it's held 4 or 5 times. Change of trend, possibly.
Let's take a look here. We had a question from Ruben in the chat. Ruben asked, I'm new at trading. What is the best time frame to use? 1 minute or 100 ticks to use on micro trading futures? What is the best to use for a new trader between the 1 minute or the 100 tick chart? If those were your only 2 options, I would say the 1 minute. If you're a newer trader, I would suggest having maybe a longer time frame that you look at, right? And not to say that you can't enter trades on the 1 minute, but maybe having a 30-minute chart up just to get context of where the market is. I don't know. It's hard to say exactly. It's going to be different for every trader, right? We have some traders that don't look at anything less than an hour chart because they're trading on a higher time frame. Right? We have some scalpers who trade on a 30-second chart. So without knowing what your trading strategy is, it's hard to tell. But I think if you're scalping on a 1 minute, maybe just having a higher time frame to get some context. But if you had to pick, and you only had a choice between the two, I would choose the 1 minute over the 100 tick. Anything you want to add to that, Coach Paul?
I start with the 3 minute or 5 minute if you're for execution, and keep an eye on the tick chart and familiarize yourself with it. You're familiar with time. That tick chart can be just looking at it right away can give a lot of action. And then over time with some experience, you can make a decision what fits you best. But initially, I would start with some minute chart, 3 minute, 5 minute, 1 minute might be too little, and watch the chart and see the differences. See what you're comfortable with. Just jumping into a tick chart, you have to become acclimated to a tick chart.
Yep. All right. I'm gonna talking about. All right. Let's take a look at the 100 tick here. I just mapped out what is the first minute of the market open. That's the first minute on a 100 tick chart. See how there's a lot of gaps and things like that in there. Let's go back and mark out the. Actually, we'll just do this. This should be 9:31 to 9:32. That's the second minute. So, there's a lot more data coming in here on the 1 minute chart. Sorry, a lot more data coming in on the 100 tick chart than you have on the 1 minute chart.
And like I said, I'm going to go back to there. So what are you getting on? You're getting a lot more action.
Yep.
And that can create confusion because you have to get a feeling for it versus a minute chart. It's time that you're familiar with.
Yep. Ruben says, I'm trading futures. We're all trading futures here at Topstep. Do you have to stay on the 100 tick? You don't have to stay on any time frame you don't want to. What you have to do is find the time frame that works for you, and it is going to be different for every person. You're going to see Dakota use a 100 tick chart. You're going to see Mohammed use a 2,000 tick chart. You're going to see us use 3 minute and 30 minute charts. There is no right or wrong answer. It's just the answer that works for you, and helps you understand the markets. Any other markets, Coach Paul, you want to take a look at? We took a look at some currencies. We looked over the big four, natural gas, crude oil. Anything else? Oh, we got the date for the last CPI, December 18th. Thank you, chat, for looking that up. December 18th, 2025. Here is that CPI candle. That is in a 3 minute. Let's go to a 1 minute. December 18th, 2025, we had CPI print come out, and the 1 minute candle was 92 points. So you can try to guess what's going to happen here. And maybe if you bought it before the open, you got lucky. You only had 8 points of drawdown. You could catch this move to the upside. But if you sold it before here, and again, we don't know how the markets are going to respond because unless you got the number, even if you have the number, you don't know how the markets are going to respond. Right?
That's a good point.
Especially that first minute. So if you sold it here, how do you manage your risk on a 90-point candle to the upside? It's probably hard to do, especially if we looked at a tick chart here. I'm sure there are some prices that did not trade out in that first minute. So what I'm going to do tomorrow for CPI is the same thing we do for every newsprint, frame out the high and low, attach a VWAP to it, and then trade the market from there. You can see that this 1 minute candle acted as a demand area, a support, if you want to call it that, place where the market gave you an opportunity to buy it off that 1 minute, and I don't have to guess where that 90-point move is going to be. It could be 90 points, it could be 150 points, depending on what that number is. No one knows. So the best way to limit risk, and look at we just keep responding to it. Give you 3 times to buy it off this level if you're patient. Go ahead, Coach Paul.
Right, and there was some. We talk about volatility. Those are chop. That is the definition of chop.
Yeah.
So looking on a 1 minute like that, understand you're getting a lot of data and a lot of chop, but it never gets underneath that low from the news. But understand, if you go with the 1 minute, you're going to have a lot more decisions. It's not right or wrong, but let's look at the 3 minute versus the 1 minute.
There you go.
All right. We still have urgency, still have risk, but what's the major theme here? Chop.
Yeah.
It's CPI. It's not. CPI sometimes is best not trading. Maybe to me, I'll probably trade crude oil or something else.
Right.
We see this. Especially if you're new and you're just learning how to trade, it can be a very emotional experience. We see a lot of people blowing up on these kind of days.
Just taking a look at the different markets on that day. Really no direction, and maybe the market was waiting for something else, right? Context matters. I know we have CPI out tomorrow. We have PPI out on Wednesday. We have a potential Supreme Court opinion on tariffs on Wednesday as well. So there's a lot more data left in the week. Jobless claims. We're starting to get into earnings season as well. So that number could move the markets, but we will see. We will see. The one thing I'll say is, I know I'm not going to try to guess. I'm not entering a trade 5 seconds before 8:30 Eastern time tomorrow morning, right? Because I can't limit risk there. If I enter a minute after, then I know where the parameters are for the market. But if I'm entering before, all I'm doing is taking it.
And one of the things, it's not. Here's what happens in big numbers like that. Market makers might not make markets in that minute in front of the news. They might cut their size down from 100 on the bid and offer to 5. It happens. It's good. And liquidity comes on. They don't want to take the risk. So as a trader, a day trader, if you make that choice to get in before it, you're taking that risk. There's no one, and to me, it's not a wise idea. Trade after.
Agreed. I agree. All right. I think that is it. I think that's it. Coach Paul, anything you want to say before we get out of here?
Once again, have a plan. Trade your plan and find consistency. Best advice I ever got.
Go. Consistency in a process can lead to consistency in results, or at least you can consistently know what you have to fix, right? If I'm doing something random every day and I get random results from that, I get random outputs from random inputs, then where do I start to make any changes, right? But if my inputs are measured and the outputs are random, there's room for adjustment there. So trade a plan, manage your risk, Join our coaches in Discord. We got Coach Hoop doing a class at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Coach Ray at 7, Coach Vince at 8, and then Coach Dakota for slow markets tonight at 8:30 Eastern Time. Aaron is back for all of our Euro traders, the London Open, 2:30 a.m. Eastern, be with the Euro trade at 4:30, and then we'll be back opening call 8:15 tomorrow to cover that CPI print. We appreciate you all being here. If you haven't done so already, like Heather just said in the chat, hit that thumbs up button. Tell your friends and family to like and subscribe. We are very close to 200,000 subscribers here at Topstep TV, 197,994. Shout out to the 3,000 of you who have subscribed over the last month or so. Let's keep pushing those numbers up. Get us to 200,000 subscribers. I know the one thing we do have is Jack doing a bond class at a minimum for 200,000 subscribers. So again, we appreciate you all being here. Trade well, manage your risk, and we will see you all tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Oh yeah, just a reminder to everyone as well. Coach Paul has been doing a pivot class in Discord in the mornings, so you could join him there as well.